Are you putting in endless hours at work but still not seeing the financial success you desire? Do you find yourself wondering why, despite your best efforts, your bank account doesn't reflect your potential? The truth is, achieving financial success isn't just about working hard or being smart, it's about mastering the right money philosophies. Don't worry though, understanding and adopting these philosophies is simpler than you might think. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 6 essential money philosophy lessons you need to know. By the time you finish, you'll have the tools to sidestep common financial pitfalls, gauge your progress, and set yourself on the path to true financial independence. So, if you're ready to transform your relationship with money and take control of your financial future, subscribe, and let's dive in. The first money philosophy lessons is the ethics of wealth accumulation. Wealth is one of the most influential forces in society, shaping lives and defining opportunities. However, its moral implications are deeply complex. Different philosophical perspectives offer varied insights on whether accumulating wealth is morally acceptable and what responsibilities come with it. These differing views don't make any one person's perspective irrational or extreme. Rather, they reflect the diversity of human experiences and values. Books and theoretical discussions can provide insight into these ethical considerations, but they often fall short of capturing the full picture. Real-life experiences bring these moral dilemmas to the forefront, making them tangible and unavoidable. Consider the story of a successful entrepreneur who amasses vast wealth through a thriving business. This person believes that his hard work and innovation have earned him the right to riches. He invests in luxury properties, funds philanthropic ventures, and enjoys the perks of his success. However, he started to face difficult questions. Is it ethical to hold so much wealth in a world where many suffer from poverty? Does his financial success come with an obligation to give back more to society? When his company faces criticism for environmental damage or poor working conditions, he must confront the moral implications of his wealth. Does he have a responsibility to address these issues, even if it means sacrificing some of his profits? If you were in his shoes, how would you feel? How would you justify your wealth? How would you respond to the criticism? Many people might feel conflicted, torn between the pride of their achievements and the guilt of their impact on others. Some might become defensive, insisting that their wealth is deserved and that others should work harder to achieve similar success. Others might feel an obligation to change, perhaps redistributing some of their wealth or altering their business practices to be more ethical. But what if there's another way to approach this situation? What if the question isn't just about whether it's acceptable to accumulate wealth, but about how that wealth is used and what it means for society as a whole? Understanding that different people have different experiences, beliefs, and moral frameworks can help us navigate these questions with greater empathy and insight. It can encourage us to think more critically about the responsibilities that come with wealth beyond simply acquiring it. By acknowledging that there isn't a single right way to view wealth, we can open ourselves to learning from others and making more ethically informed decisions. This approach can help us avoid the pitfalls of greed, neglecting societal impacts, or becoming too self-assured in our moral righteousness. In the end, it's not just about what wealth you accumulate, but how you choose to handle it. Stay reflective, question your assumptions, and recognize the broader implications of your financial choices. Through this process, ethical and meaningful success will follow. Now let's move to the next money lessons you need to know, and that is money and happiness. The relationship between money and happiness has been a topic of debate for centuries, with philosophers offering diverse insights into how wealth affects our sense of well-being. From Aristotle to Epicurus and modern thinkers alike, there's much to learn about how money can both enhance and undermine our happiness. Let's explore one key lesson in this topic, which could be called the happiness paradox. Imagine Sarah, who had always believed that owning a luxurious mansion in an exclusive neighborhood would make her truly happy. She worked tirelessly as a top executive, saving every penny to afford her dream home. She envisioned that living in such opulence would bring her peace, fulfillment, and admiration from others. However, after moving in, Sarah began to notice that the mansion didn't bring the joy she had anticipated. Instead of feeling fulfilled, she found herself overwhelmed by the constant upkeep, security concerns, and the pressure to maintain an image of success. Rather than bringing admiration, her home often attracted envy or assumptions that she was materialistic and disconnected from others. Sarah also realized that the happiness she derived from her home was fleeting. At first, she was thrilled by the grandeur, but over time, the novelty wore off. She started comparing her mansion to others in the area, always finding something that seemed better or more prestigious. This led to a cycle of dissatisfaction, where she constantly sought out ways to improve her home, never quite feeling content. Reflecting on her situation, Sarah came to understand that her pursuit of happiness through material wealth was misguided. Philosophers like Epicurus had warned against this very trap, emphasizing that true happiness comes from simple pleasures, meaningful relationships, and inner tranquility, not from the accumulation of wealth and luxury. Aristotle, too, says that happiness, or eudaimonia, is achieved through a life of virtue and purpose, rather than through material possessions. Sarah decided to downsize to a more modest home, redirecting her resources towards experiences that brought her genuine joy, such as traveling, spending time with loved ones, and contributing to causes she cared about. She also made a conscious effort to stop comparing herself to others, focusing instead on cultivating her own sense of happiness and fulfillment. This lesson highlights the complex relationship between money and happiness. While wealth can provide comfort and opportunities, it doesn't guarantee happiness. By understanding the philosophical insights from thinkers like Aristotle and Epicurus, we can avoid the trap of seeking happiness through material wealth, and instead focus on what truly brings joy and fulfillment in life. By the way, if you're enjoying the video so far and want a part 2 video, comment below part 2 so I know. All right, let's move on to our next money philosophy lessons, and that is the concept of value. One of the key lessons in money philosophy is understanding the concept of value, how it is defined, and what it means in the context of money. Philosophers have long debated the nature of value, distinguishing between intrinsic and extrinsic value, and how these ideas influence our financial decisions. In financial matters, it's crucial to understand that not all value is created equal. The concept of intrinsic value refers to something that holds value in and of itself, independent of external factors. For example, a person's health or knowledge can be seen as intrinsically valuable. They are good in and of themselves. Extrinsic value, on the other hand, is value that is assigned based on external circumstances or perceptions. Money, for instance, has extrinsic value, because it is valuable only insofar as it can be exchanged for goods or services. It's important not to confuse extrinsic value with intrinsic worth, especially when it comes to investments and financial decisions. And, as the saying goes, you are not your investments. This principle applies to the concept of value as well. Your financial success, or lack thereof, should not be mistaken for your personal worth or intelligence. For instance, consider a person who invests in a piece of real estate that they believe will appreciate over time. However, due to unforeseen economic downturns, the property's value plummets. If they equate the extrinsic value of this investment with their self-worth, they may feel devastated and make rash decisions, such as selling the property at a significant loss. This is a common mistake, driven by the emotional attachment to the perceived value of the investment rather than its intrinsic worth. To avoid this pitfall, it's essential to recognize that value is not always tied to external success or failure. Intrinsic value, such as the knowledge gained from a failed investment or the relationships built along the way, can often be more meaningful than the financial return. This perspective helps maintain a balanced approach, ensuring that your sense of self isn't overly tied to the ups and downs of the market. Moreover, it's crucial to recognize that not every investment will be successful and not all financial decisions will meet your expectations. To navigate this uncertainty, it's prudent to create a financial plan that accounts for potential setbacks. All right, let's dive into one of the most talked about and often misunderstood debates in the world of money: materialism versus minimalism, a central discussion in the philosophy of money. On one side, materialists champion the belief that more is better. To them, money is a pathway to happiness, success, and fulfillment. Each dollar spent is seen as a step closer to the ideal life. On the other side, minimalists advocate for simplicity and restraint, arguing that less is more and that true contentment comes from shedding rather than accumulating wealth. When these philosophies collide, it sparks a lively debate over the value of money and possessions. Materialists are the proponents of consumerism, who view money as a crucial tool for a satisfying life. For materialists, accumulating wealth and possessions is synonymous with achieving a fulfilling life. The belief is straightforward. The more you have, the better off you are. Materialists argue that money unlocks life's pleasures and opportunities. Want a luxurious mansion? Start saving? Dream of a yacht? That requires more hard work. This philosophy suggests that financial success translates into personal success, and that material possessions reflect the life one has built. However, the pursuit of material wealth can lead to a relentless chase. You acquire a mansion, but soon need to fill it with expensive items. You purchase a yacht, but then eye a grander one. It's like running on a treadmill. Progress feels constant, but the goalposts keep moving. Once you achieve one level of success, there's always something more to desire. In a materialistic society, wealth often equates to worth. Amassing money can make you seem successful, intelligent, and enviable. But this raises a critical question. Does all this stuff genuinely make us happier, or are we merely trying to fill a void? Materialists believe that more possessions equate to greater happiness, yet this happiness can be fleeting. Once the novelty of a new purchase fades, what remains? Let me share a story that perfectly illustrates the topic we're discussing. At a party given by a billionaire on Shelter Island, Kurt Vonnegut shared an anecdote with his friend Joseph Heller. Vonnegut pointed out that their host, a hedge fund manager, had made more money in a single day than Heller had earned from his immensely popular novel Catch-22 over its entire history. Heller's response was poignant. "Yes, but I have something he will never have. Enough." The simplicity and eloquence of the word enough deeply impacts. In a society where many of the wealthiest and most powerful seem perpetually unsatisfied, the concept of enough appears elusive. Minimalists offer a different perspective, suggesting that the pursuit of possessions may actually burden us. Minimalism is not merely about owning fewer items, but about simplifying life and focusing on what truly matters. Minimalists contend that money should serve as a tool, not an end goal. Instead of accumulating possessions, they advocate for investing in experiences, relationships, and personal growth. Joy, they argue, comes from things that cannot be bought: a sunset, a meaningful conversation, or a quiet moment. For minimalists, a meaningful life is found in choosing to live without excess. Philosophically, minimalism challenges the notion that more is better. It counters the materialist belief that happiness can be purchased. By owning less, minimalists find more. More time, freedom, and mental space to focus on what matters. It's akin to decluttering a closet and realizing that the empty space is more satisfying than the items once stuffed in there. However, minimalism can have its own pitfalls. The pursuit of simplicity might become an obsession in itself, where the aim is to see how much one can eliminate rather than how much one gains from the experience. In seeking the perfect minimalist lifestyle, some might treat simplicity as a new status symbol, measuring success by how little one possesses instead of how much one has. The debate between materialism and minimalism centers on the role of money in life, whether it's a means to accumulate wealth and status or a tool to achieve freedom and simplicity. For materialists, money is a driving force in their quest for happiness. It acts as a measure of success, where more money signifies better performance in the game of life. Materialism is based on the belief that possessions bring comfort, security, and identity. The car you drive, the house you live in, and the clothes you wear all project who you are and what you have achieved. Conversely, minimalists view money differently. They see it as a means to support a desired lifestyle rather than an end in itself. By not chasing material goods, minimalists believe they can focus on deeper, more meaningful experiences. They question whether the things we buy add real value to our lives or simply fill space. Both philosophies offer paths to happiness, but come with their own challenges and ironies. Materialists might find themselves in a cycle of perpetual consumption, always wanting more, but never fully satisfied. Minimalists, meanwhile, might discover that the pursuit of simplicity can become a new way to measure success, a minimalist's version of keeping up with the Joneses. Perhaps the real wisdom lies not in choosing one philosophy over the other, but in finding a balance between the two. Money is a powerful force. It can provide comfort and convenience, but can also cause stress and anxiety. The challenge is to use money wisely, recognizing when it enhances your life and when it merely adds clutter. A balanced approach involves enjoying the benefits that money can provide without getting lost in the endless pursuit of more. Let's move on to the philosophical perspectives on debt, the next lessons you need to know. Debt. It's a concept that touches everyone at some point. Whether you're taking out a loan for a house, using a credit card, or borrowing money from a friend, debt is a big part of modern life. But have you ever wondered about the deeper, philosophical side of debt? Let's explore what some famous philosophers thought about debt and what their ideas can teach us about borrowing and lending. Aristotle was an ancient Greek philosopher who had a lot to say about living a good life. He believed that the key to a good life was practicing virtues qualities like courage, temperance, self-control, and wisdom. When it comes to debt, Aristotle would suggest that it's not necessarily bad or good. It all depends on how you use it. For example, if you borrow money to invest in education or start a business, Aristotle might see this as a virtuous use of debt because it helps you grow and contribute positively to society. But if you take on debt to buy things you don't really need, just to show off or satisfy short-term desires, Aristotle would probably say that's not virtuous. In this case, the debt could be a sign of failing to practice self-control. While Aristotle's ideas help us understand that debt can be used wisely, many people end up falling into debt by chasing after the latest trends and luxuries. Instead of achieving happiness, they might find themselves stuck in a cycle of wanting more and more. Fast forward to the medieval period, and we meet Thomas Aquinas, a philosopher who also had strong views on morality. Aquinas believed that debt involves a serious moral responsibility. According to Aquinas, when you borrow money, you create an obligation to repay it. This isn't just a financial transaction, it's a matter of justice and trust. If you fail to repay a debt, it's not just about breaking a contract, it's about failing in your moral duty to others. Today, many people and businesses treat debt like a routine part of life, and defaulting on payments can be seen as just another business risk. This modern attitude can clash with Aquinas' emphasis on moral responsibility and fairness. Immanuel Kant was a philosopher who believed that our actions should be guided by principles that everyone could agree on. He called these principles categorical imperatives. For Kant, borrowing money creates a duty that you must respect. If you take on debt, you should repay it because it's a matter of respecting the agreement and showing respect for others. Kant would argue that keeping your promises, including financial ones, is a fundamental part of ethical behavior. While Kant's ideas emphasize the importance of sticking to your promises, real life often complicates things. Unexpected financial problems can make it hard to repay debt, even for those who genuinely intend to honor their commitments. John Rawls was a philosopher who focused on fairness and justice in society. He suggested that societal rules should ensure everyone has a fair chance to succeed. Applying this to debt, Rawls would argue that the way debt is handled should be fair to everyone, especially the less fortunate. For example, if lending practices are unfairly targeting people who can't afford to repay, that's not just. Rawls would call for systems that protect vulnerable people from harmful debt practices. Despite the ideal of fairness, many people face high-interest loans and predatory lending practices that trap them in cycles of debt. This reality often falls short of the fair and just system Rawls envisioned. Philosophers have a lot to say about debt. Aristotle thinks it's okay if used wisely. Aquinas sees it as a serious moral obligation. Kant believes it's about duty and respect, and Rawls wants it to be fair for everyone. In everyday life, debt can be both a tool for growth and a source of stress. Understanding these philosophical perspectives helps us see debt not just as a financial issue, but as a moral and ethical one. By considering these views, we can make more thoughtful decisions about borrowing and lending, aiming for responsibility and fairness in our financial lives. So the next time you're dealing with debt, remember these philosophical insights. They might just help you think more deeply about how you handle money and what kind of financial principles you want to live by. All right. Forward to the next philosophy lessons you need to know is the role of money in a just society. Imagine, if you will, a grand debate hall where some of history's greatest thinkers like John Rawls and Karl Marx are duking it out over the best way to slice the societal pie. And by pie, I mean money. So grab a seat, because this is where the concepts of fairness, equality, and justice clash in a battle of ideals. First up is John Rawls, the philosopher who might have been a fan of fair play at game nights. Rawls was obsessed with fairness, really obsessed. He believed that a just society is one where the rules of the game are designed to be fair from the start. His most famous idea, the veil of ignorance. Imagine you're about to join a new society, but here's the catch. You don't know who you're going to be in this society. You could be rich, poor, healthy, sick, brilliant, or average. You're completely in the dark. Now, knowing that you could end up anywhere on the social ladder, how would you design the rules of this society? Rawls argued that under this veil of ignorance, you'd want to make sure that even the worst-off person has a decent life. Why? Because for all you know, that worst-off person could be you. Rawls proposed that money and resources should be distributed in a way that benefits the least advantaged members of society. Not in a way that makes everyone exactly equal, but in a way that ensures no one is left without the basics needed for a dignified life. It's like playing a game of Monopoly where the rules are adjusted so that even the person with the worst luck still has a chance to win or at least to avoid financial ruin. But here's the irony. While Rawls' theory sounds noble, it doesn't exactly thrill those who are used to winning the game. In a Rawlsian society, the super rich might have to give up some of their yachts and mansions to make sure everyone else has food and shelter. And let's face it, not everyone wants to trade in their sports car for a system that prioritizes the well-being of others over personal luxury. Now enter Karl Marx, who's not just here to tweak the rules, he's here to flip the entire game board. For Marx, the whole concept of money and wealth distribution under capitalism is fundamentally flawed. He didn't just want to level the playing field, he wanted to tear it up and build a new one. Marx's philosophy centers on the idea that capitalism inherently creates inequality by concentrating wealth and power in the hands of a few at the expense of the many. In his view, the rich get richer, not because they work harder or are smarter, but because they exploit the labor of the working class. The result? A society where a tiny elite controls the majority of the wealth while everyone else struggles to get by. In Marx's ideal society, money wouldn't just be redistributed more fairly, it would be practically unnecessary. He envisioned a world where resources are shared collectively and everyone contributes according to their ability and receives according to their need. It's like scrapping monopoly altogether and replacing it with a game where everyone works together to make sure no one loses. But here's the twist. While Marx's vision is all about equality, history has shown that putting his ideas into practice is easier said than done. Attempts to create Marxist societies often ran into problems like big ones. Human nature, corruption, and the complexity of managing a large economy often got in the way, leading to outcomes that didn't quite match the utopian ideal Marx had in mind. So, what happens when you put Rawls against Marx in the ultimate battle of philosophies? It's a showdown between fairness and equality. Rawls wants to create a system where everyone gets a fair shot, even if that means some people end up with more than others. Marx, on the other hand, wants to eliminate the disparities altogether, even if that means tearing down the current system and starting from scratch. But here's where the irony kicks in. While Rawls and Marx are often seen as being on opposite ends of the spectrum, they're both driven by a desire to create a just society. They just have very different ideas about what that looks like. Rawls focuses on making capitalism more humane by building in safeguards for the least advantaged, while Marx wants to replace capitalism entirely with a system that eliminates inequality at its root. So, what's the takeaway? At the end of the day, the debate over the role of money in a just society is far from settled. Rawls offers a vision where we try to make the best of the system we've got, ensuring that everyone has enough to live with dignity. Marx challenges us to imagine a world where money doesn't dictate our lives at all, a radical rethinking of society itself. The real question is, what kind of society do we want to build? One that tries to be fair within the constraints of capitalism, or one that seeks to eliminate those constraints entirely? And perhaps most importantly, how do we navigate the complexities of human nature, ambition, and greed in pursuit of a just society? As you ponder these questions, remember that the role of money in society isn't just about who gets what. It's about what kind of world we want to live in. Whether you're a fan of Rawls' fair play or Marx's revolutionary vision, the ultimate goal is to create a society where money serves the people, not the other way around. And that's a goal worth striving for, even if we can't agree on how to get there. And there you have it, my friend. 6 essential money philosophy lessons. It's evident that money isn't just about accumulating wealth, it's deeply intertwined with our values and life choices. From the balance of materialism versus minimalism to the moral implications of debt and the pursuit of financial independence, each lesson sheds light on how money influences and reflects our broader life philosophies. Now, if you found this video helpful, I highly recommend watching my next video, which is the perfect complement to this one. Thank you for joining us today, and don't forget, like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Your engagement is like applause for our efforts, and it motivates us to bring even more valuable content your way. So feel free to drop a comment below. I appreciate your support, and I'll see you in my next video.